You're watching the Wellness Hour, news that makes you healthier. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, the importance of vitamin D. According to my first guest, he says if you have low vitamin D, that's going to make you fat. It's going to interfere with how you sleep. It may give you sleep apnea or chronic snoring. That by taking vitamin D or getting some sun, that you can feel better, better mood, better sleep, and it can be life-changing. With us, we have, really an expert on the topic, Dr. Gould. Dr. Gould, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
So vitamin D, most people are deficient? And how do you know? Give me the symptoms of a vitamin D deficiency.
Okay, so first of all, almost everyone's deficient. And the reality is that the FDA can't tell you how much vitamin D to take because it's a hormone and everyone needs a different amount. So almost everybody who actually thinks they should get vitamin D and take supplements is taking about 1,000 IU or international units, and that's absolutely not enough. Someone like myself, I take 10,000 IU.
What are the symptoms?
What are the symptoms? So classic symptoms, vitamin D deficiency has many different symptoms, but what is mostly related to my area of expertise is sleep and breathing issues is the tongue itself. If you stick out your tongue in front of a mirror, if you see little indentations in the tongue, that's called scalloped tongue. That's from your tongue thrusting against your teeth all night long while you're sleeping. That's number one. Number two is bruxism or clenching and grinding. Most people don't know this, is that the clenching and grinding of your teeth either during the day or at night is controlled by your brain and needs to have a high level of vitamin D. One of the symptoms of vitamin D deficiency is bruxism, clenching and grinding. If you grind your teeth during the day, you definitely want to get your level checked immediately because you're going to be very, very low. Some of the other signs of vitamin D deficiency are chronic infections, joint pain, muscle pain, fibromyalgia, and even things like acne. Now, a big one that people don't know about is toenail fungus. Many Americans are affected by toenail fungus, and mostly they think it's their fault for not keeping their feet clean enough. This is caused by vitamin D deficiency and poor sleep because your immune system needs to have a high level of vitamin D to function properly. If it's not working right, your body becomes susceptible to opportunistic infections. Opportunistic infections are fungus, bacteria, and viruses. So you get more colds and flus, you get more bacterial infections, you get toenail fungus, you can even get dental decay and gum disease.
And wrinkles. You say wrinkles are low vitamin D levels.
Well, no. Wrinkles,
in the green room, you said something about
vitamin K2. Now,
K2.
Yeah, vitamin K2, that's a yes.
Taken with vitamin D.
Taken with vitamin D is very important.
Okay.
That's an important combination. But again, toenail fungus is a very big, and podiatrists don't even know this is actually connected.
Okay. So. Now, with vitamin D. Okay, so we're getting less sun than ever before, right?
Yes.
Kids are getting less sun than ever before. Everybody's putting sunblock on. What's the danger of this?
Well, the danger is that by putting on too much sunscreen, we're filtering out our children's only mechanism of getting vitamin D. There really isn't any vitamin D3 in milk. It's vitamin D2, and it's not the same, and we don't want vitamin D2. You can just Google that. It's completely the wrong thing. But without giving appropriate supplemental doses, most kids are becoming vitamin D deficient early on, and that basically starts to disrupt their sleep immediately, and these are kids with ADD.
Okay, now we've talked at least now an hour and a half. I've had you on my show before, and I'm going to paraphrase you slightly, but you believe, so people that chronic snoring and people that have sleep apnea, they think they're sleeping, but they're waking up throughout the night, like maybe 30 times a night.
Yes.
Some of these people you give vitamin D to in combination therapy with other things, and they start sleeping again.
That's right.
And because they're sleeping again, they have more energy, more libido, better concentration. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you think that vitamin D is like this miracle hormone.
Well, no. So
is that right?
Is
it a vitamin or a hormone?
So it's a hormone, and this is, people, they kind of make fun of me because I'm really focused on what vitamin D does, but first of all, everyone needs to understand that vitamin D changed my life. I have Crohn's disease, and I suffered my whole life from this, and when I took my vitamin D level from 18 up to about 75, my Crohn's disease symptoms that I had for my whole life disappeared. This was the biggest shift in my life other than my mental health, because I went from being a grumpy person to being a happy person. And why is this one thing so effective is that people have to understand how the body works, is that this particular hormone, it's not a vitamin, goes into the nucleus of every single cell of your body and tells your DNA, your chromosomes, to unwind and have certain genes be copied. When your vitamin D level is low, you do not copy over 2,000 genes that we actually use to make all kinds of chemicals, like things that run our bodies, especially something called cathepsidins. These are our own natural antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal medications. And we don't have those at lower levels of vitamin D. You need to think of it this way, is that vitamin D is your body's way of understanding what season it is. Our bodies are used to two settings, summer and winter. In the summer, our bodies are very different than in the winter. When we have vitamin D levels below 35, which is almost everybody, our bodies think it's winter. Our gut bacteria—
So will we hold on to fat more?
Very much so, because our bodies think it's winter. The chemicals that we make in our gastrointestinal system are made by our gut bacteria. When we have low vitamin D, this tells the gut bacteria to shift to a different kind, and they store fat, they decrease serotonin and dopamine, and they lower our thyroid medication, or our thyroid hormone. Our bodies have a winter setting, and this setting makes us put on fat. Not only does it make us take the chemicals that we eat, the normal foods that we eat, and turn it into something that's either fat— definitely when our body thinks it's winter, we have the chemical processes to put on fat, and it goes so far as to send signals to your brain that things that you smell taste good, because we are the evolutionary descendants of humans that in times of low sunlight, which is winter, craved food to put on some weight so that we would survive. So if you think about this from a historical point of view, this was an advantage. Low level of sunshine, that's winter. Put on weight to make it through the winter. The spring comes, the sun shines, and you get more vitamin D. We have everybody stuck in permanent winter. Everybody's covering themselves up. Their vitamin D levels are well below any historical levels. And the primary thing this is doing is, number one, it's totally ruining our sleep. And number two, it's making our bodies run all the wrong chemical mediating processes, thinking that it's winter. That's why people are getting fat.
Have you given people vitamin D and then they sleep better? Just that alone?
That alone. Now, I don't want to give this away. It's not just vitamin D to raise someone's D level.
You believe in eating clean as well.
Absolutely.
Like lean proteins, vegetables, good oils, good fats, things like that.
Yes.
We can't leave that part out.
No, well, we want it.
Without vitamin D, you're saying
doesn't
you can
matter.
only eat
You
so
could eat
well.
the health. Now, you have to understand something, is that as a doctor, I have a doctorate in science, and I have a background in biochemistry and physiology. Now, I was heavy my whole life, and no matter what program I went on, it didn't matter whether I ate only vegetables, it doesn't matter the exercise process, I couldn't lose the weight for two reasons. Reason number one is my vitamin D level was way too low. My body was gonna torch my muscle before it was going to get rid of fat. So if I went to the gym and worked out really hard, I'd be so sore the next day. I'd have some results, but it wasn't until I raised my vitamin D level that my body started to literally transform. Absolutely. Where you put on fat is a function of your vitamin D level. That extra fat that goes to your gut and to your hips, and for women it goes on their backside, this is your vitamin D fat. This is your evolutionary fat that's there to help you survive a really tough winter. If you're lying somewhere in a cave and you've got no food, isn't it better that you sleep for 14 hours, sort of crummy? Your summer setting, when your vitamin D level is high, you get all the work of sleep done early. You don't choke in your sleep. You wake up refreshed, and now you can utilize all the energy from the things that you eat to build muscle. Think of it this way. Humans are animals, and we're kind of seasonal. The idea is that we want to build up our vitamin D level towards the end of the summer, and then when it's dark out, we're going to utilize that vitamin D and wear it down in the darkest days of winter. But as the sun starts to come out in the spring, we get more vitamin D and build our levels up again. The problem is that everyone's still using the same amount of vitamin D every day, and nobody is replenishing their levels.
So a couple hundred years ago, we were out, especially men, right? We were out all the time. Women were out all the time. I shouldn't say especially men, but we were all outside more.
Yes.
So you're saying...
I'm going to tell you, this is an interesting anecdote. This is one of my friends, he's African American. His mother died of chronic disease in her mid-60s. He has sleep apnea, and his grandmother was actually lived to 109. And the reason we think that this happened is that she actually worked in the South in the cotton fields, and she lived outside, had unlimited sun exposure, and ate only whole natural foods. And this is what the human animal was kind of designed to be. Wearing clothes, being indoors in air conditioning has greatly reduced our exposure to the sun, because the sun does a lot more than just give you vitamin D. There's some other things, but that's the primary reason that sunlight was so important to us. We evolved as animals living outside. We didn't have air conditioning. We didn't have sunscreen. We didn't have hats and sunglasses.
So take your vitamin D. 10,000 IUs?
I can't tell. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Go to my website if you want some information. Okay. You need to know specifically, you've got to get a blood test, and then you've got to dose carefully, because this is a hormone, and just like anything, you have to be careful with what you put into your body, because remember, even water's toxic if you drink too much of it.